Buongiorno everyone and welcome back to the Magpie channel for the first ever live lineup predictions. Been doing this show for about a year and a half now, since just before Christmas of last season. And it's been going class. Thanks very much to everyone for watching it. It's been a big couple of years for the Magpie channel. This season especially, we'll get into the Newcastle stuff a little bit later on, but on a personal level from me and Renty, thank you very much for everyone for tuning in over the past, however long we've been going at all, 3 or 4 years now. And yeah, it's just gone strength to strength. We hit 10K, big target that we've been looking for quite a while. Hit that about a month or so ago. So thank you very much to everybody for tuning in. And yeah, the last 3 games of the season, I'm going to bring you a live lineup predictions for the first time ever, just as a thank you to you lot, and we'll have a little bit of interaction. Get them in the comments there. Callum Lewis straight in. Hello, Mara. Good to see you all. Thomas as well. Hello. We'll have a little interaction as we go. But yeah, we're here for the lineup prediction for the Manchester City game tomorrow night, live on Sky Sports at 8 p.m. The preview with Martin from Man City Fan TV is out there now. That was done last night live with Renty and Martin. Touched into Man City mainly. Martin's just discussed their team, their lineup and stuff. And what are we going to do with Man City? Like, obviously, there's not really much to play for in this game. Like, we're safe now. We've solidified our safety thanks to Fulham losing. And Man City have guaranteed the title due to Man United losing. So we're safe and they're champions. How's this game going to go? Does anybody really care? I've seen Newcastle fans say season's over now. Like, we'll get into injuries and stuff, but Callum Wilson's out. It's not the end of the world. Man City, they've got the Champions League final to play for, so are they focused on that? But the thing with Man City is they've got such a deep squad. They could put out a B or a C team and still give Newcastle or any other Premier League team a good run for their money. Like, the depth in their team's ridiculous. Like, I have to keep taking people out of my fantasy team because they're not getting game time. I started the season with Phil Foden, barely played at the start of the season. I took him out, starts playing loads, starts scoring loads of goals. The opposite for Gundogan. He was in the form of his life. He's literally had the season of his career. He's never really been that much of a goal-scoring centre midfielder, but this year he's just gone absolutely apeshit. So I thought, ooh, I'll have a bit of that, because he was quite cheap as well. He was only like 5.6 or something on the Premier League fantasy team. So I thought, bargain, need to get him in. He's racking up the points. As soon as I put him in, he doesn't really play anymore. You can never guarantee if Sterling, Aguero, Mahrez, any of these big signings are actually going to play. The only solid ones have been at the back, Ruben Diaz and John Stones. John Stones returning, the revival of John Stones. His career at Man City looked dead in the summer. That's why they brought in Ruben Diaz and Nathan Ake. But Stones, back from the dead, had an unbelievable year. And he will be back tomorrow night as well. He's just been serving a suspension for a red card. I think he was injured. I think he's had a little bit of time out recently. Didn't he just come back from an injury and then got himself sent off? So yeah, he's back now, of course, for the Newcastle game. There's an injury doubt over Kevin De Bruyne. I'm not really sure what the situation is with that. I just read that before, but I think other than De Bruyne, there's not really many injury troubles for Newcastle, unfortunately. Just gonna jump in here. Whatever lineup we'll get in touch tomorrow. Everybody said that for the Leicester game. Everybody wrote off for the Leicester game, and I did as well a little bit. I think I optimistically said at the best we'll get a 1-1, but went there and beat them 4-2. So, hey, there we go. Jake's just touched on it. That's what we said against Leicester, and won 4-2. Thank you very much, Jake. Let's see what Adam says. Players haven't had a chance. Well, that's an option. We could go into it like that. We could rotate. Like I say, we haven't got anything to play for. But I'll go back into what Martin said. He thinks that Man City might play the best possible team, just because they lost the other day to Chelsea. I don't think the Champions League finals for a few weeks. And they've got the rotation. Like I said before, it doesn't really matter what team they put out. They can still touch most teams most days. So whatever lineup they put out, it doesn't really matter. Brucey spoke this morning in his press conference saying that he still wants to give it a go. Like, the season's not over. Like, I still want to see some performances. Like, you get 38 games a season. If you've got a season ticket, that's like 19 games. And I we can't get the games at the minute. But if you could get the games, if you were paying for 19 games, I want to see 19 performances. I don't want to see 16 and then no way we're safe. So bollocks, it doesn't matter. We'll just get beat fucking 7-0 every game. Doesn't matter. Like, I still want to see performance. I still want to be entertained. I'm putting my time and effort into watching it. So I want to win games. I'm not sitting here thinking, well, we're going to get beat off 6-0 off Man City. That doesn't matter. To me, it does matter. But anyway, so Martin says that he expects a full-strength Man City team for us. Although Ruben Diaz, who I just mentioned, may get rested. I'm not really sure why he pinpointed Ruben Diaz, but with John Stones back from suspension and Nathan Ake played the other day against Chelsea, haven't seen him for quite a while. So, yeah, well, I haven't got a clue what Man City team the player, like I say, it doesn't matter who. De Bruyne is meant to be out. Sounds all well and good, but they'll just replace him with someone good as well and still give him a pretty good game. So, difficult one there. Wouldn't mind seeing Elliot Anderson and Matty Longstaff playing midfield yet. I would too, although, yes, Anderson's injured. That's right, Elliot Anderson is injured. Matty Longstaff, definitely want to see him give it a go. Go for at the back. Like, why not? Go for them. We've done that back in when Graham Jones came in for the Everton game. Changed from that dread-awful 5 at the back. Went to Everton unexpectedly. Like, another one that we didn't expect nothing from. Got a win. So, let's say, we've got a decent record at St James's as well. At the Etihad, it's a different story. You said 5 or 6-0, I'd be like, yeah, probably. But over the last few years, it hasn't been that bad. We drew with them 2-2 last season at St James's, and was it the season before we beat them 2-1? Like, it hasn't really been too bad. Big up the 76 Club. Go and check my guy out over there, American Football Podcast. I feature regularly on that. Haven't been able to get on over the last couple of weeks, though, unfortunately. So, what up, mate? So yeah, that's the Leicester team news. Leicester, that was last week. Man City team news as much as I can. On the Newcastle front, of course, Callum Wilson. That's the big news of the week. Mentioned during the week that, unfortunately, like I say, it doesn't really matter too much. He's done his job. He came back from a lengthy injury and done his job. Made an impact in the Liverpool game. And against Leicester, but the third in the league at the time. I think they still are third in the league. Came back, beat them 4-2, 2 goals. Big impact from Callum Wilson. So, yeah, unfortunately, he's out for the remainder 3 games. It's not the same injury, though, which I think is a big factor. It's not going to be the same one that just kept him up for the last 8 weeks. I think that's a bit of a load off my mind. Like, you feel sorry for guys. Like, I know you want them on the field, but at the end of the day, like, you don't want them to be out too much. Like, he might still be fighting for the Euros, but I can guarantee that even if he was fully fit with 20 goals to his name, you play for Newcastle, you're not going to the Euros. I don't think any Newcastle player is, Joe Willock included. But Brucey spoke about Callum Wilson and said, in hindsight, I should have taken him off before he did. But it is the other side. I think credit's got to be given to Brucey where it's due. Like, we were cautious with him, which was good with a hamstring injury. You never know how a hamstring injury can go. Like, you can think that you're back, but just a little burst of pace, just get the acceleration on and you can tweak it again. That's another 8 weeks out. Hamstrings are tough ones to deal with. I think Brucey handled it very, very well because he was back for quite a while before he actually got game time. I think he missed 1 or 2 games where we expected him to at least be on the bench. And then he was on the bench for a number of weeks, coming on for 20, 30-minute appearances. And as soon as we thought he was fit, everyone was like, get him in the team. When the lineup was announced and he was on the bench, everyone was fucking so pissed off. Start Callum Wilson. He's our best player, goal getter. Start him. But credit to Brucey, he didn't throw him in when it was unnecessary and ruptured that injury anymore. So well done to him. And it is the other side. I don't know which side it was in the first place. Example left. This time he's done his right. And it's only going to be a matter of about 3 weeks, probably. It's just a bit of a tweak. It's not as bad as the original injury, so he's not going to be out for 8 weeks. So good news on that one. Brucey says we expect it to be 2 or 3 weeks, so it's nothing like the last one, which is good news. But it's still a shame he can't finish the season with, which it is. I'm good that we can't see him for the last few games. And hopefully he's still here next season. That's a talking point. Who are we going to keep going into the summer? Don't really want to think about that just yet. Me and Renty will do a postseason video in the next few weeks with transfer targets and where we're going to next season and all of that. But yeah, Callum Wilson put something on Twitter or Instagram the other day on his social medias about wanting to get back fully fit. He's disappointed that he can't be playing at the Sheffield United game next week, the first game where we can actually have fans back. So he says he wants to be here next season and he wants to play in front of a sellout St James's crowd in a home game. So hopefully that is the case. Hopefully he does stay, and we do get to see him in front of 52,000 at St James's Park in the league next season. Joe Willock was mentioned in the press conference as he picked up a bit of an injury against Leicester. Bruce says that he's okay. He trained well all week. It was cramp he went down with, and we all feared the worst when he went down, but he's fine and he'll play. So that's good news. Over the moon about that. Joe Willock, he's been influential, been a huge, huge player for us over the last few weeks. Since we got him on loan in January, he's been absolutely immense. Like, ridiculously. And like, I know, like, can we change things up? Can we put Matty Longstaff in? Maybe, yeah. But in place of Joe Willock, I don't want him. I want Joe Willock to play. Maybe instead of Shelvey, maybe instead of Sean Longstaff, maybe instead of one of them. But nah, Joe Willock, he's just too good to leave out, even though there's nothing much to play for. Still want to go forward. Still want to try and get this win against the champions. Put them to shame. They're the champions. They'll be thinking, nah, it's only Newcastle, little old Newcastle. Go them and put a fucking slap on them. That'll make us happy. Like, would you rather go into that game thinking, well, we're already safe, doesn't matter if we lose, or do you want to go into it and actually get another 3 points, try and climb that ladder, beat the champions, play for pride? That's what I want to do. I don't want to sit back and fucking get beat. So let's go back and see what we're saying. Jake, we'll have a good record against Newcastle, against City. I remember when it was 2-1 at St James's Park. Perez and Rondon. Oh, it was Matt Ritchie got the penalty, didn't he? That was the winning goal. That was the day we signed Almiron as well. Finally broke the transfer record after 11, 12 years and beat Man City at home. What a fucking day that was. I remember that well. There's a pre-lineup there from Jake. Dubravka, Lewis, Dummett, Clark, Shaz injured. That was going to be one of me next... suspended, sorry. That was going to be one of me next talking points. Mentioned Fraser there, depending on how he's doing, which we'll get into. So, Fabian Shaw suspended, as I just mentioned, serving the second of a 3-game ban. So the final one will be that game against Sheffield United at home, and then Fulham, last game of the season, he will be back eligible for. On the injury front, the usual 4 suspects who may be out for the rest of the season: Carl Darlow, Captain Lascelles, Isaac Hayden, and Ryan Fraser are all out. However, the Toon just posted some pictures on their Instagram, on Twitter, of the training sessions, and Isaac Hayden and Ryan Fraser are back in. Like, they're not going to be back for this game, so we might be lucky to see them at the Sheffield game, but I'd love to see them back for Fulham. I'd love to do that. Like, we went down there last game of the season 2 years ago. Me and Renty went on the Thames boat tour, booze party at 9 o'clock in the morning. That was rough. What a day it was, though. Went down to Craven Cottage. Again, they were already relegated. They were rock bottom of the Premier League at that time, so they were already relegated. We were miles safe. I think we were sitting like 10th in the league that season. And now we were 13th, I think, that season. But we were comfortable anyway. Survived relegation a good few weeks before that and slapped them 4-0 in a great performance. So that's what I want to see happen again. I want to go down there, put on a good show, all our best players. If Hayden and Fraser are fit, maybe Lascelles as well. Shaw unsuspended. Class. I want to see the boys in full there. Willock as well, because that could be his last game in a black and white shirt. Maybe the others as well. As I say, we'll talk about that at a later date. But Almiron, Sir Maximin, Wilson, will they be there next season? Only time will tell. We'll have to see about that one. But yeah, that's the news there. So Wilson, Hayden, Fraser, Darlow, Lascelles, and Shaw, the only ones out. Willock, who we thought maybe a doubt, will be okay. So we'll get into the lineup in a sec there. Any last couple of comments there? I praise Maximin Wilson stay. Absolutely, Terry. Should we play Manquillo right back and Murphy further up the pitch? That's a shout, but you know, maybe no. I don't want to see many changes. Me, honestly, I want to go out on a high. I was going to say maybe for the Sheffield game, but that's the last game. That's the only game at home. 10,000 fans are going to see it for the first time in nearly a year and a half. So I want to put on a good performance. I want to absolutely slap the piss out of Sheffield United. They're already relegated. We want revenge on when the beat were in January. But we were the first team they beat all season. That was in January. They were on track for being the worst Premier League team ever. I don't think any team had gone into January without a win on the board. But we were nearly that team. So now I want to keep the best team possible. Brucey says he wants to try and fight and climb up the league as much as he can, which I respect, and I really hope that he does. I hope he puts his money where his mouth is. Diego says, good luck. Prediction 1-0 Newcastle. Got a hunch. I hope you're right, Diego. We all do. So we're getting to the lineup there, and obviously we're going to go Martin Dubravka in goal with Darlow being out. I think that's pretty much a given, so don't really need to get too much further into that. Back line, Clark, Fernandez and Dummett. That would bring Clark back in place of Kraft from the Leicester game. Bruce spoke about that in the pre-match interview from the Leicester game and says it was a forced change. Didn't really want to put Kraft in there, but he had to. Don't really know what happened. Don't know if it was an injury in the warm-up or the last final day in training, but Clark had to drop to the bench. Kraft came in and, to be fair, done a great job. So if it's the same again, if Kraft starts, I'm not really that bothered. Like I say, I want to say the strongest team, but if that's the only change that we'll make after beating Leicester 4-2, so be it. I'm not really that bothered about that, but if we're going to play our best team, I think Clark is it, alongside Fernandez and Dummett, who have all been immense over the last few weeks, picking up results over the past month or so that nobody expected, Leicester included, Liverpool, West Ham, Tottenham. Like we've found a solid unit that we've been really, really crying out for all season. With Lascelles being out, I think that was a major part that we thought might absolutely fuck we're losing our captain, but they've came in, all of them have stepped up and been amazing, and none more so than Paolo Dummettini goal against Leicester. That's how you knew that was going to be a mad game. That's how you knew there was going to be 6 goals, a big scoreline in that game once Paul Dummett pops up and scores his first goal in about 5.5 years, I think it was. January 2016 was his last goal. Fucking Paul Dummett get on the score sheet, man. Nah, that's how you knew that was going to be a mad game. But no, I don't think we should change up that back three. If Clark's fit, of course. If it is Kraft instead, then it is what it is. But no, back three, that's what it'll be, along with the wing backs in Jacob Murphy and Matt Ritchie. Again, immense in this change up. Like a lot more attacking as well. Obviously, they're more out and out wingers than the odd defenders, being converted to wing backs. Murphy just this year, we've only seen him as a wing back for the first time this season, really. I think he might have played there a little bit on loan at Sheffield, but it's the first time we'd seen him for Newcastle. Ritchie's been adapting to that role for the past 2 or 3 years, but they've been absolutely class since that change up. Going back to the 5 at the back, they've been amazing, none more so than Matt Ritchie. As I say before, with Lascelles' injury, we needed a captain because we haven't really got one, and John Joe Shelvey certainly isn't it. So Matt Ritchie's been the man that we've needed. He's been like absolutely class. Like you can see the passion in him. Every goal that we score, he just loses his shit. He's an absolute nutcase. And that's the kind of player we want to lead the team. Like he's so vocal. He celebrates everything like he's won the World Cup. Like the passion in him. You can't fault it. And I think he's going to be one of the key reasons why we have stayed up. Like since this formation change, bringing in them lads that I mentioned, Murphy, Fernandez, Kraft, Clark, Dummett, I think they've been what's changed us. That's why we're safe. They've been class. So yeah, it can stay unchanged for my liking in defence. Maybe a few more changes further on. We haven't really got that many more options. Obviously, Kraft, Manquillo, and Lewis was mentioned before. Lewis and Manquillo. You could bring either of those in. I don't mind. I'm not really that bothered. Like it is what it is. I would like to say Lewis maybe be given a chance between now and the end of the season, because I just don't really think he has had a fair pop. He's the starting fullback or wing back for the majority of the early part of the season, and just got kind of dropped on his arse, and we haven't really seen him much since. Maybe Fulham. Kraft was good. After these three, I hope we get the last is John Joe Shelvey. Well, I'm getting into midfield in a minute, Callum, but you're probably right, because like I say, we get so much stick on this channel for criticising John Joe Shelvey. About 50% of you are with we, 50% of you hate it. It's like, why gives John Joe Shelvey so much stick when he's good? Give him praise. Like, when anyone's good, we'll give them praise. I don't give a fuck who you are. Like anyone that the majority of fans don't like, we're here for an honest opinion. We'll just tell it how it is. If you're shit, you're shit. If you deserve praise, then we'll fucking give you praise. John Joe Shelvey just isn't it. He's been so inconsistent and frustrating for me for a good 3-4 years. But this season, nah. Especially putting that captain's armband in the absence of Lascelles and in place of Matt Ritchie or Isaac Hayden, any one of them. Nah, not it for me, unfortunately. Yeah, we are safe. That is the main thing. But yeah, let's go out and get a win or try to. If it's not Man City, which is obviously is a big ask. Sheffield or Fulham, definitely. As soon as Richie's came in, we've started winning, yeah. That's what I was thinking of, Callum, and I can't remember which goal it was. I think it might have been Wilson's goal, the second goal against Leicester. The Newcastle fan, the NUFC TV camera picked him up, running down the line, screaming, "Oh yes, I love playing away." That's the kind of passion. Like he's a fucking captain. He just lifts everyone's spirits. He's some boy. Yeah, absolutely love him. But we'll go into the midfield then, and we will be going with Shelvey and Willock, which isn't really too much of a surprise. I would absolutely love to see a replacement for John Joe Shelvey, but I don't see it. Like I say, with the captain's armband in, he's rocked in. He's probably one of the first names on the team sheet for Brucey. We need a captain. As I say, he isn't it. I'd rather it be Richie, but as long as Brucey wants to put the captain's armband on him, then fair play. That's just what it is. As long as it's not Sean Longstaff, because them two together, I can't abide it, mate. It's really annoying, and I think you could tell that after the Arsenal game. I think after the Arsenal game, we were screaming out for a change, whether that be Willock, as we did get for the Leicester game. Obviously, for the Arsenal game, he couldn't play playing against his parent club, but Matty Longstaff, Elliot Anderson, much rather have any one of them in there. But like with Isaac Hayden benched, injured, and Jeff Hendrick deservedly benched. You don't really want to see Jeff Hendrick come in to replace him. So at the minute, we've got to have two centre mids. No team can play with one centre mid. So as long as that's Willock, certainly 100% Willock. And in Brucey's mind, it's 100% Shelvey as the captain. Sean Longstaff or Matty Longstaff aren't going to get ahead. And as long as Sean Longstaff's on the bench, for me, great. I don't really care who plays in his place as long as it's not in the starting 11. So go further forward to the wings, and we'll start with Almiron. Miggy Almiron, better performance against Leicester. I've been a little bit critical of him over the past few weeks. Work rate, great. Determination, yeah. But just end product, creativity, productivity, it's just been a bit lacking for me. But that Leicester game, he came good. He put in a really good shift, got an assist. But still, I still want to see a little bit more of him. But I think especially, the only player that I've said over the last few weeks, if you've been watching the videos, that I would like to replace him with would be Joe Linton, because I think he's been in decent form. But with Callum Wilson being back, Joe Linton was never really going to get ahead of either one of those three, Saint-Maximin included. So yeah, Almiron can keep his place along with Alan Saint-Maximin, of course, as long as he's fit. He's got to be the first name on the team sheet. Our key player and danger man. Don't really need to talk too much about Saint-Maximin. You know the fucking score. And up front, in place of Callum Wilson, will be Joe Linton. Only other options there would be Dwight Gale or Andy Carroll. But I'd say Joe Linton's been in decent form. Like when Callum Wilson wasn't quite back yet, when he was on the bench, wasn't able to return from that initial hamstring injury. Joe Linton was doing all right. Got himself a couple of goals. Performances were good. He was making an impact, looking a bit more confident, had his tail up, running at defenders, keeping the ball, getting shots on target. Quite a few off target as well. But I've just seen a lot of improvement there that we've been looking for since he signed. He's obviously has been a disappointment, even on the ball. Loses it, straight passes, isn't strong enough, falls over his own toenails, shots into the crowd. Well, I just feel like over the past month or two, his performances have been a lot better. So, yeah, I think he's got to start for me. I think he's going to offer a little bit more than what Dwight Gale and Andy Carroll have, especially because they've been... they're not for me either. I think either one of them... Well, I was going to say either one of them can get out the door for me. I think Andy Carroll probably will as he's out of contract, but Dwight Gale just signed a new one. So it's unlikely he will be... It's unlikely Dwight Gale will be out the door in the summer, but we'll see. I think they were shaping up for relegation, though. Dwight Gale in the Championship, absolutely. I would keep Dwight Gale. He's clinical. Scores loads of goals in the Championship, but not for the Premier League, unfortunately. We need something new in midfield, says Callum. If we can get Wilson the proper service, we'll see a different... Yeah, mate, I completely agree. Can you imagine, though, Callum Wilson, he's got 12 goals this season. He's been missing for half of it. He's had awful injuries. He's missed big portions. And we're the least attacking or least dangerous team in the league. Well, I've been for a couple of years. The stats say it all. Well, we're in the bottom three, at least anyway, of touches in the final third, in the box, chances created, crosses into the box, shots on target, goals scored. We're bottom of the barrel. That's why Joelinton struggled so much last season, because we know he's not a striker. He never has been a striker. But he was being forced to play as a lone number 9 in a defensive system where he wasn't getting the chances. And the chances that he was getting, of course, he was missing, because that's not his job. But Callum Wilson, that is his job. A lot of this season, he's been feeding on scraps. He's had absolutely nought to get. Most of them have been penalties, to be fair. But he's just obviously more clinical, and he gets the goals when you need him to. So, like, if he was fit and getting more assistance, like, Sir Maximin's been out for half the season. Almiron's missed large portions. Like, we haven't had our best team available this season. Like, Steve Bruce has had shit luck. Maybe you can blame him for the injuries, but we've had shitty luck this season with injuries. So if Wilson played the full season, if Sir Maximin played the full season, we had a bit more of attacking intent, he could be easily on 20. He's done 12 feeding on scraps and being injured. Can you imagine what he could do fully fit with a better team around him? He'd be fucking easily in 20 goals. Hello, Jonathan. Good to see you, mate. You and Matty going to the Sheffield game next week. Well, mate, we're trying. We haven't got my season tickets this year, of course, but yeah, we're making some phone calls. We'll try, but we'll be at the game regardless. We might not be in the ground, but we'll be around there doing interviews and stuff, pre and post match. So come and see if you're there. Matt Ritchie never wanted the armband. Well, you should fucking have it. Yeah, make sure you like and subscribe and share, and we'll come to that shameless plug shortly as we're at the end of the starting 11 lineup prediction. There it is if you're just tuning in. Dubravka, Clark, Fernandez and Dummer at the back three, with Murphy and Ritchie as wing backs, Shelvey and Joe Willock in the midfield, with a front three of Almiron, Sir Maximin and Joelinton. And I'll show you the bench then that I've got chalked up regarding who may or should be fit. Gillespie to cover for the injured Carl Darlow. Manquillo and Lewis, as people have been asking for to start. Emil Kraft, who may start depending on the fitness of Kieran Clark. And obviously he's done a good job against Leicester, so I wouldn't really be too bothered to see Emil Kraft in the starting lineup. Jeff Hendrick, you don't want to see in the starting lineup. Neither do you want to see Sean Longstaff. Matty Longstaff, absolutely. I'd love to see Matty Longstaff in the starting lineup, providing he's fit. Obviously, he's had his injuries this season. Of course, Andy Carroll's had his injuries this season and last season and the prior 19 to that. And Dwight Gale as the other striking option. So that is the first live lineup predictions done and dusted there. Just going to jump back in with a couple more comments before we're signing out. Give Brucey credit. He's dealt with his injuries well. He has for the most part. Some's been a little bit questionable, but yeah, especially the Callum Wilson one. Dealt with that really, really well. Need a new centre mid. Next 3 games, City of Joelinton. I suppose you could do that. Share the load. Yeah, why not? Like, I think people are going to be playing for that place now. Obviously, with now Callum Wilson's the starting striker, the others are just in rotation. You get more use out of Joelinton because you can play out wide, a bit deeper or whatever. But yeah, so yeah, I wouldn't mind sharing the load. Let them fight for that competition, because even if Wilson does leave in the summer, someone's got to fill in that role. So yeah, everyone should be playing that role now. So yeah, could share the load. That would be a good shout. Wouldn't mind that team. Yeah. Why is Sean that bad? Yeah, he really is. I fucking can't stand Sean Longstaff at the minute. You know, when he came back though, he was all right. Like when he was getting that place in the centre of midfield, keeping Joe Willock on the bench, which I could never really understand. He was doing well. It's as good as we've probably seen him since the Rafa days, since he broke into the team that first season. Rafa gave him the chance, and then he's been shit basically since Steve Bruce took over. But yeah, over the last few months, like he's played better in portions of the game than I've seen for a long time. But yeah, he just can't really last 90 minutes. He hasn't really got the gas in the chamber, and yeah, some of his passes, some of his decision making, getting back defending, it's woeful. Yeah, so I'm not a big fan of him. Arsenal want 25 to 35. Fucking hell, it's going up and up by the day. But you put in performances like that, then it's understandable. That's just what's going to happen. Like 25, I would probably pay. I think he's worth that. If you're asking for 35, then fucking hell, yeah, that's a bit much. Right, I'm just going to leave that there then, and I just want to say again, thank you very much for tuning in, everyone who's been watching along from the start of the season. and everybody that's been interacting with me here tonight. We will be trying to do these live lineup predictions again for the next couple of games of the season. And just make sure you're back tomorrow. We'll be back for all the pre-match content, post-match content, and during match content. Is there a word for that? I might just be fucking off in the air, but we'll be back tomorrow anyway. So, yeah, live watch along. We'll be back from 10 to 8. 10 to 8 will be here. Me and Renty live watch along for an 8 o'clock kickoff and all the lovely post-match content after that, instant reaction and player ratings. So thanks very much for watching, everyone. Hello, Jake. Make sure you're there, buddy. Yeah, make sure you're there. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure to like this video, drop a comment as well. Give me a lineup prediction of your own and a score prediction as well, if you would, please. Over the last few weeks, I've gave very optimistic 1-1s and I haven't really been too far off, to be fair. Like, some even better than expected. I think I said 1-1 for the Liverpool game, and it was. I said 1-1 for the Arsenal game, which I don't want to talk about. And I said an optimistic 1-1 for the Leicester game, which, you know, what happened there, surpassed myself there. So, yeah, very, very optimistically for Man City, I'm going 1-1. But realistically, probably 2-0 City, unfortunately. But, yeah, that's it from me tonight, everyone. Make sure that you drop the like, subscribe, and we'll see you tomorrow. Enjoy yourself and enjoy your weekend.